YouTube, and maybe I have reason. I think Facebook gets more people like watching it as it happens than YouTube. So I just
Okay.
that's why it's the advantage. But
What
it doesn't
what's the
stay.
name of the YouTube? Sorry.
Facebook eliminates it. It only lasts for a while on Facebook, but I think YouTube doesn't have that limit.
What's the name of searching for YouTube? What's it registered under?
HAOROT.
Okay.
Road.
Haorot. Okay. So now let's go back to the Zoom room. There we are. And now let's go to the text. And that's share with Rav Kook's computer. And Rav Kook, the desk. I imagine this corner there, they probably have the bed in this corner, but all right. So we're not going to review, we're just going to continue into the next piece. That's every piece here is a review of the others, because he's really it's amazing how many times he said similar things and emphasized it, and it brings different aspects. And it also shows that there's something of significant importance here that he feels. He returns to it and develops it. And so this is in notebook 1, entry 309. And yeah, this one deals with where does evil come from? So but we get to that. It's a longish piece. And here's Holy Sister Shoshana. And they named it Shin. No, we did this one, didn't we? Let's do it again just in English, but I'm almost sure we did it. Maybe I did it in a different context. Please remind me. Here comes Ricky. Faith of Vav of Zion. All right. Oh, I see. Right. This one in the text, they bring in the text later on. They don't quote the whole piece. But when I saw the whole piece in the text that we're using as our guide, they only take a piece of this longer piece, and that's what got me confused. Like how, but it's worthy of starting from the beginning and doing the whole piece. Notebook 1. 1910, Yafo, Rav Kook is, the possibilities are all opening up. Chovah Gdolahi al Tzadikim, and its name, do not leave your place. Chovah Gdolahi al Tzadikim, it's a great obligation for the righteous. Lehit asek tamid balimudim v'shirot HaMe'orerim et ha'ta'anug ha'elyon. This is an obligation, not just a recommendation. This is an obligation. Obligation is, something that, we obligated because God obligates us. It's an obligation for the righteous to be always engaged in those studies, v'shirot, and those songs, המעוררים את התענוג העליון, that awaken the highest pleasure, the highest. Righteous people have a great obligation to constantly engage in studies and songs that arouse the supernal delight. כדי שיהיו תמיד מדושני עונג, so that they will always be suffused with oneg, delight, bliss. You can also translate oneg as bliss. It's like a type of, it's a pleasure. Mia oneg shalahem, and because these righteous tzaddikim are in a state of oneg elyon, mia oneg shalahem, from their state of oneg, yimshach shefa oneg, there will be drawn the flow of oneg, the flow of delight, will be drawn al kol ha'olam kulo, to the entire world, upon the entire world. Al kol bchina shel kol bria, on every aspect of every creature. Kefi ma shehi yechola lekabel, as much as that creature can receive. Umirov ha'oneg, and from the great amount of pleasure, from the vast delight, hamitmashech miziv neshama kedusha, that is drawn from the radiance of the holy soul, shel hatzadika elyon, of the highest tzaddik, due to the vast delight that is drawn from the radiance of the holy soul of the supernal righteous person, shel hatzadika elyon, ba'al hasaga habehira, that person who possesses hasaga habehira, a clear attainment, a clear comprehension. And then from this great pleasure, delight that is drawn from the holy souls of supernal righteous people, which we're here in Israel to cultivate, and it's the path of the Torah and all of that is about cultivating tzaddikim who have hasaga bria, and from that we will bring the delight of love to all of Israel, ve'ahavat pnimit lechol tov, and an inner love for everything good, due to the vast delight that is drawn from the radiance of the holy souls of the supernal righteous who possess clear attainment, a pleasantness of love, noam shel ahava, they're in a state of lovingness for all of Israel, right? You know, we all saw examples of that, and Reb Shlomo was he was really a master for it. And ahava pnimit, it's not just for Israel. It's inner love on the inside for anything good, all that is good, anywhere in the world, not just in Israel. Vayimcheku, and through that will be erased. Kol tavei hakategoriot, all the accusations, categoria. I think it's an Aramaic word. I'm not sure, but it's I always wondered about, we categorize people. It's a way of creating conflict as well. You're categorizing them, because the word categorize seems to come from this, but it's the word accusation. Categor is somebody who's an accuser, and it's even a legal term. But when we're in this, the Tzaddik Elyon, who's in the place of lovingness for all of Israel and inner love for all good, for that person, and generally, all the lines of accusation, which make people really wrinkly, right? So your face is all that. It removes all those lines of accusation, mikol hapanim, from all the faces. Umimele tishtatek achutzpah. And through that will be silenced the chutzpah, the insolence, and all that. Velo tuchal laharim rosh, and it will not be able, this insolence and all the, I guess, insolence here means a certain rebellion against good. That whole energy, lo tuchal laharim rosh, will not be able to raise its head, letashtesh et ha'olam, to bewilder, to mix up the world. And here's the part where I think is a very important understanding. Ki kol kocha shel harish'ah, shel haresha, because the entire power that evil has, where does evil get its power from? It's a question I've been asking myself for quite some time lately, because we've been so confronted with evil that it's really something I'm trying to understand. And here Rav Kook offers, and I'll tell you actually, let's read what he says, and then I'll relate it to our situation in Israel. He says, Kol kocha shel haresha, all the power of evil, ba mi hamerirut hanimtza beneshamot, comes from the bitterness that is found in souls, the souls that do the evil. Mipnei hayeveshut shebehem, because of the aridity, the dryness that they have. These are souls that are feeling really bitter. There's nothing vitalizing them. They're all dried up in their bitterness. Umipnei harichuk shelahem, and therefore, because of this, their distance, mia oneg ha'elyon, from the higher bliss, from the supernal delight, shel hadvekut, the supernal delight of the cleaving, of the connection, habrucha, that is blessed, bekodesh ha'elyon, in the highest holiness. The entire power of evil comes from the bitterness that is found in souls because of the dryness. I like the word dryness better than aridity. And because of their distance from the supernal delight. They have no pleasure. They're not enjoying, they're experiencing their displeasure from the supernal delight of the blessed clinging to the supernal holiness. They have no connection to the supernal holiness. Bezohar hanotzetz mior ein sof. In the brightness that shines forth from the light of the infinite one, from the infinite light. I think a lot of the reason Israel is getting so attacked, part of the reason is it's really hard for them to see how how good it is here, how it's free and plentiful, and nobody's controlling anybody else, and just the level of goodness that Israel is experiencing has never been really. It's like and it's getting better all the time, as in lots of different ways. As we get more of that connection to the divine and suffused with divine bliss in our lives, they feel their own emptiness and dryness and imprisonment and all that, and we're a real threat to that. And that's got a lot to do with also, as well as the muftis, their theological teaching is that they have the Temple Mount now, and the Jews are never to return and rebuild the temple. It comes down to the Jerusalem ultimately and the temple, but that's ultimately what it comes down to. But now the number one bus will take me to the hotel. I'm waiting for the number one that'll take me up to Har Habayit, and it'll be a bus with a mikveh on it. So, but that's what he's saying. The problem is that the entire power of evil comes from this bitterness that's found in souls that are so dried up, and they're so far from the supernal delight of the blessed clinging to the supernal holiness and the brightness that shines from the light of the infinite one. Even in English, that's a sentence only Rav Kook would write. Ve'al yedei godel hayesurim shekol neshama sovelet. And through, or as a result of the extent of the sufferings that every soul suffers and endures, mitgaberet harish'a bekitzva. Evil gains strength in its anger and its wrath. I guess as the Yisurim, as the soul is suffering more and more, then the evil just gets more. Vehi bo'etet umachrevet, and it kicks and it destroys. Mesicha et da'ata veliba, and it directs its consciousness and its heart el hakfira, to disbelief, to heresy, vehel hefkerut, and to anarchy. But hefkerut means there's no moral law. Hefker, it's no morality. Hefker, it's specifically talking about moral law. So that's the bad news, because we see that happening, and we see how much the level of anarchy, when people see the tapes, what happened on October 8th and what those people did, and then they brought back the bodies and the things, and people, the entire country it was the biggest celebration they've ever had in the history of Gaza. It was a certain, really anarchy of the worst sort, hefkerut, where they gave in to their absolute worst. Aval, thank God Rav Kook doesn't leave us there. Aval kesheha Eden mitpateach, as Eden develops, opens up. It's a startup, and as the startup grows, but that's what he's saying, as Eden develops, as shav ruach chaim, there will return the spirit of life, ruach chaim v'tachanunim, a spirit of grace and supplications from Zechariah. Let's look at the Zechariah. Oh, this is great. It's what verse is it? It's verse 12, right? Let's look at the lead up to it, given what's going on these days. Yeah, Zechariah 12:10. Look, if you want to get a little bit encouraged, let's look at it earlier in Zechariah. Here we go, folks. Zechariah 12. This is really speaking to our moment. This is Dvar Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, saying this to Israel, about Israel, Ne'um Yud Kei Vav Kei. This is a statement of Yud Kei Vav Kei, who stretched out the skies and made firm the earth, established the earth, and created the spirit of man within it, and within earth. Here, Anochi Sam et Yerushalayim, I will make Jerusalem Saf Ra'al L'chol Ha'amim, a bowl of reeling, but it's Ra'al is poison. I will make him a bowl of poison to all the nations around. V'gam al Yehuda yeh matzor al Yerushalayim, and even Judah, the people of, the Jews, shall be caught up in the siege upon Jerusalem. The Yehudim will be caught in the siege upon Jerusalem. When was the last siege of Jerusalem? 1940s. That's how it's called, was the siege on Jerusalem, and so on. What happens? V'haya bayom hahu, it will be that day, Asim et Yerushalayim even ma'amasa lechol ha'amim, when all the nations of the earth will gather against Judah, against Jerusalem. Has that ever happened, Rachel? Even ma'amasa lechol ha'amim. It will be a stone, a heavy stone that all the nations will have to lift up. What's the image of it? Even ma'amasa. And even a rock you have to move in order to get somewhere. It's a certain type of rock. Somebody can ask their telephone or their machine. But even ma'amasa is a particular type of rock. It'll be a type of that sort of rock for all the nations to lift. Kol omsea sarut yisaretu, and all who lift it will injure themselves. They'll try to raise it and they'll injure themselves. Ve'ne'esfu alea kol goyei haaretz. In that day I will make Jerusalem a stone for all the people to lift, and all who lift it shall injure themselves. But it doesn't say here all the nations of the earth. Well, I guess the nations of the earth is the quote at the end of Gimel. Let's keep going. In that day, God declared, Yud Kei Vav Kei, of course, and Zechariah is speaking in the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei, I will strike every horse with panic and every rider with madness. But here's the good news. Al Beit Yehuda ifkach et einai. On the house of Judah, I will open my eyes. V'kol susa amim akeh be'ivaron. While I'm striking every horse of the nations with blindness. Yields open the eyes of Judah while I strike all. There's interesting, you can also click into the Perushim. And then Amru Alufei Yehuda, all the generals, modern Alufim, the generals of Yehuda will say, Bilibam, they'll say in their hearts, Amtsa li Yoshvei Yerushalayim, Be'adonai Tzvaot Eloheim. The dwellers of Jerusalem are, I guess, Amtsali, they are my, I have to be really strong and work with Yudke Vavke Tzvaot Eloheim. Why that's significant is my understanding from the Sefer Yetzirah class, when we got to the name Adonai Tzvaot, which is one of the first names. It's usually associated with God as in war, as the God of hosts, as the God of the leaders of the armies. And that's what he's saying here. The generals of Yehuda will realize that the dwellers of Jerusalem, are a task set for us, which is, of course, I'm reading now Ben Gurion's account of the 48 all that time, and what they needed to do to save the people in Jerusalem and so forth. So it's all that. They made a real decision that they're going to have to break the siege of Jerusalem and take responsibility. But Bayomahu, on that day, Asim et Alufei Yehuda kekior esh ba'etzim, I will make the clans, the generals of Yehuda, like a flaming brazier among the sticks. I think they set fire to certain areas too. I'm not sure if that was a weapon. Ukilapid esh be'amir, and there'll be like a flaming torch among the sheaves. Ve'achlu al yamin ve'al small, they will devour all et kol ha'amim saviv, all the nations around Jerusalem, on the left, on the right, that are besieging Jerusalem. They'll devour them. Vayishva Yerushalayim od tachtea b'Yerushalayim, and Jerusalem will continue onwards in its sight in Jerusalem. Jerusalem will continue. Vehosha Adonai et Ohalei Yehuda barishona, and God will first give victory to the tents of Yehuda at first. Leman lo tigdal tiferet Beit David, so that the glory of the house of David, v'tiferet Yoshev Yerushalayim al Yehuda. God will give victory to the tents of Judah first, so that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem may not be too great for Judah. I guess he means the battle won't be too difficult. God will give them victory, so that I'd like to see some commentary what that means. Why they translate it. But in every case, the basic point is, he's describing a situation of Jerusalem completely besieged, and then the armies of Yehuda, of the Jewish people, and I guess it was the Yehudim that are returning and to build Israel, but Yehuda it's significant as the stepping stone to Beit David. And here is, which verse in the Rav Kook one? Is it 8 or 9? But here, let's just keep reading because it's really good news. Bayom Mahu, Yagain Yudke Vavke, Be'ad Yoshev Yerushalayim. On that day, God will defend, will shield, will be a magen, a shield for the sake of all who dwell in Jerusalem. Yoshev Yerushalayim, v'haya hanifshal bahem bayom hahu keDavid. And on that day, even the feeblest, nifshal is kishalon, the one who's failed, even those with the dwellers of Jerusalem, the feeblest of them, they will be like David. the power of David, Ubeit David ke Elohim, and the house of David will be like Elohim, Kemalach Yud Ke Vav Ke Lifnehem, like an angel of Yud Ke Vav Ke before them, walking before them, and Haya Bayomahu, and it will be on that day, Avakesh Lahashmid, I will seek to destroy, to annihilate, et kol hagoim habaim al Yerushalayim, all the nations that are coming up against Jerusalem. Now the phrase is interesting. It's avakesh lahashmid, and the way they translate it is, it means I'll all but annihilate them. I will look to annihilate them. I might not annihilate them totally, but I'll act in an annihilating way. This is all God's saying. And the good news for us, v'shafachti ha-beit David, and I will pour upon. Oh, and this is the words Rav Kook. This is where Rav Kook is these words that Rav Kook was quoting. V'shafachti al-beit David, and I will pour upon the house of David, v'al Yoshev Yerushalayim, and the dwellers of Jerusalem, ruach chen v'tachanunim, a spirit of chen v'tachanun, pity and compassion. There might be other ways to translate. Chen is a hard one to understand, but it's tachanun is an expansion of chen. It's the same word, but expanded. Chen v'tachanun. But it is a type of compassion, caring that God will just pour upon the house of David and the dwellers, inhabitants of Jerusalem. And you know, right now everybody in Israel all of the land of Israel is inhabitants of Jerusalem, and everybody everywhere. Though anyways, I'm encouraging everybody to come here soon, whenever they can, or at least for a visit. But that's what God is saying. I will at that point fill the house of David and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with a spirit of chen v'tachanunim. I don't like the word pity and compassion, but that's, however, vehibitu alai, and they will lament to me. Hibitu, they'll look upon me, meaning of Hebrew, uncertain. That's why. Hibitu means they will look, Eli, I think, towards me. Et asher dakaru, they shall lament to me about those who are slain. Oi, v'safdu alav k'misped ala yachid, and we will wail over them, mourn over them like someone who's mourning over a favorite child, their only child. V'hamer alav kehamer al bechor, and they'll also have bitter grief like those who have bitter grief over a firstborn. Bayomahu yigdal hamisped b'Yerushalayim, and that day the wailing in Jerusalem will increase. Kemispad hadad rimon bebikat Megidon, just as the wailing of Hadad Rimon in the plains of Megiddo, and then every family shall wail. All the houses, and he names all the houses. Wow, it's pretty heavy.
That's moving too fast.
Well, I'm just skipping forward a little to see, because it gets really bad. Let's keep going though, because it somehow feels like it's describing us. In that day, a fountain will be opened up to the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, lechata'a v'lenida, that'll provide a purging and what's a lustration, linda, for impurity, I guess a cleansification. On that day, Yud-K Vav-K says, I will erase the names of all the idols from the land. They shall not be uttered anymore. I'll also make the prophets and the so-called prophets and the impure spirit vanish from the land. And it just keeps going about that whole thing. But, oi, 2/3 shall perish, 1/3 shall survive. So, but then finally, they will invoke me by name. I will respond to them. I will declare, you are my people, and they will declare, Yud-K Vav-K Elohai. That's the good news. After we go through where we lose a lot. Okay, Rav Kook didn't take it that far. That's what he was bringing in. It's just one part of this. When Eden develops, after all this horrible stuff, and the spirit of life returns, a spirit of grace and supplications, begins to hover, lerachef belevavot, to hover in people's hearts. The aura tshuva holech u'meir, and the light of tshuva goes forth increasingly and illuminates, lights up more and more. V'kol ha'olam kulo mitrape, and the entire world is healed. That's good news. And this is actually where this is the piece. This is where our book, this text, takes this piece. This is where it puts in. All of this they left out because it was secondary to the point, but I think it was an important piece to look. It's hard to do that with these pieces. Rav Kook meant them as complete thoughts. And so the Nazir never did that. He always presented the full piece, almost always. אמנם הצריך הצדיק הגדול לדעת את מעלתו. For all of this, it's important that the great tzaddik, the great righteous person, has to know their level, their level, their elevation, their worth. וצריך לשמור את קדושתו, and he has to guard and keep his own holiness, בהודו הפנימי, and his inner glory. ולא ליפול משום דבר ועניין כלל, and not to fall for any reason or any matter at all. אפילו מכל רפיון שלו, even from any weakness that they may have, ואפילו מכל מה שנראה על פי פשטן של דברים, and even from all those things that appear by a simple reading of matters, in a simple look at it, it appears shegdola hi achatzitza, that the barrier between us and holiness and all that the barrier is very great, that it's not possible to cross it, and to elevate, to rise benoam elyon, into the supernal delight, into the supernal pleasantness of beziv kodesh and holy radiance, even if it feels to you, you can't. It's always saying, don't give into that. The great righteous person must know their elevation, that they have a part of great righteousness, and we all have it deep within us. Even if it becomes clear to you that you're not at all suited, you're not in any way suited l'shum gadol v'l'shum pe'er, for any greatness, for any praise. But Well, you realize I'm not suited for any greatness, any great praise. I'm suited to be put down, disdained. Once they find out what I really did, aluv ve'arud, to be insulted and lowly. I'm suited for the lowliness. Le'ein sheker v'shi'ur, without any limit whatsoever. I'm really that bad. Afal pikein, even though you think that way and it's very clear to you that's how you are. Lo ya'azov et mahuto apnimi. You should not leave your inner essence, your inner being. Ve'et ruach hamoshel ta'ale alecha. And and even im ruach hamoshel ta'ale alecha, the spirit of the king, of the ruler, rises against you. Mekomcha al tenach. Don't leave your place. It's from Kohelet, Ecclesiastes. Even if the spirit of the ruler rises against you, don't leave your place. And of course, we've seen that in Jewish history. We've kept our place. There were times when people did convert. I mean, there were those times as well. So it's not only, but many people, we maintained our place no matter what. Because the good news is, sof, finally, sheyinatzeach, that we will be victorious. V'akol yitukan, and everything will be repaired. Everything. V'afilu kol hadvarim elyonim, and even the most highest, elevated, supernal matters, shenechshavim lechutzpa nora'a lachpotz otam, that it seems like it's a horrible insolence to desire them. How can we possibly desire the end of all disease in the world, and even the end? Nobody should even sniffle unnecessarily. Even those things that it seems a terrible insolence to want them. Sof kol sof, finally, even those things, Kiyu chelko imam b'ne'imim, will be your portion will be with them in pleasantness. The highest things that we want, we can have. We shouldn't think that we don't deserve to have this. As it says in the book of Tehillim, Avarech et Hashem asher ya'atzni. I will bless Hashem who counseled me, who advised me. Af nachala shafra alai, and the inheritance, I guess God's intents, maybe shifra alai, God's inheritance pleases me. So to review, we have a great obligation. So I want everybody, I'm encouraging everybody when this shiur is over to be constantly engaged in studies and songs that arouse the supernal delight. That's your obligation. I can give you a note for work if you need to get off work so you can do this. But that's what we're obligated to do, so that we will be constantly suffused with delight. May we be so blessed. And from our delight, a delight will draw upon the whole world, to every creature. And because of the vast delight that we can draw from the radiance of the holy soul of the supernal righteous person who possesses clear attainment, then a pleasantness of love for all of Israel, an inner love for all good will be drawn down. I bless us that we feel a pleasantness, love of Israel, and an inner love for all good. And that, Shalom Aleichem. Oh, so I'm going to finish in about. I think that room is open. Is that no? It's not open. I know. What? I think it's locked. It's locked. I'll give you the key. It's this blue key. Hey, shalom aleichem. Thank God. So I'm going to finish in a few minutes, and then we'll go learn there. And yeah, Sophia, and all all the lines of accusation will be erased, and all the chutzpah in the world, which is so. I mean, it's extraordinary how much. Can you hear that, or am I the only one hearing that?
I hear it.
Look at.
It's a boom.
Okay. Yeah, the insolence. I really want to make a big blessing that the insolence of the world will be silenced, because right now the insolence it's the loudest thing going, and that it will be unable to raise its head and to confuse, to distort everything for the world. Because there's a huge amount of evil that comes from the bitterness of all these dry souls and from their distance from the supernal delight of clinging to the supernal holiness in the brightness that shines from the light of the Infinite One. And we have to give thanks a zillion times a day to the fact that part of the inheritance of Israel is the connection and the instruments, the vessels to experience the connection, so we can experience the supernal delight of the blessed clinging to the supernal holiness in the brightness that shines from the light of the Infinite One. May that be. How was your day today? Well, it was really delightful as I was clinging to the supernal holiness in the brightness that shone from the light of the Infinite One. And how was your day? And finally, I want to bless us to we are in the time when Eden is developing, but the people who are far away. Anyways, the evil is so dried up that it's horrible. But we have to realize that we have touch. We're in touch with this holiness and this inner glory, and not to fall from it in any way, and not to feel that there's any barrier from it and from us rising into the supernal pleasantness and holy radiance. There should all be blessed, Lehitromem benoam elyon v'ziv kodesh, and that we should be blessed, lo ya'azov et mahuto pnimit, no matter what, not to leave our true inner being, no matter what is trying to control us. And in this way, we will participate in the ultimate victory where everything will be repaired, and will even those things that we think, I don't have the right to ask for things to be this good, the terrible insolence to think we could ask for that. Even those things, we have to realize these things will come for us. Sof sof yechelkenu, they'll be our portion. And so may we bless the Holy One who guides us and consults us and gives us this inheritance that can bring us to experience and bring the whole world to experiencing the oneg elyon shel hadvekut habrucha bekodesh ha'elyon bezohar hanotzets mior ein sof. And may that really be the human experience everywhere, and may our learning and yearning bring immediate victory to Tzva Haganah Israel, and immediate return of all the Chatufim. And it's healing to all the wounded, comforting to all the mourners, and the elevation of all the holy souls. And may all the good really be victorious for the entire world immediately. Venomar.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Rabbi Joe, is there any of this, is anything getting better?
Uh, our our men and women are on the ground. There may be as many as the two detachments. There's got to be about 30,000 people inside there on the ground.
Wow.
And
Well,
what we know is that they're just they're clearing the way because eventually they'll have to confront them in their tunnels.
yeah. Yeah, that's what, I mean, this is what they're really taking seriously, not
Yeah.
to
Well, we're all very
destroy them.
serious here, but you should stop inviting people to Jerusalem because the traffic situation is atrocious.
Wait, I should start inviting people to Jerusalem?
No, stop promoting. They're coming to Israel. Yeah, I can't drive around. I can't even get out of my neighborhood. It's so crowded.
Well, the price of success. But may that be Israel's biggest problem, is
Right.
the overcrowding of righteous tzaddikim doing holy good things. All right, so folks, we're learning here with live people at Beit Rav. So if you're in the neighborhood, feel free to come over.
Life.
And we'll continue tomorrow here, and it'll be dedicated to Parshat Nitzavim and
Shkoyach.